That ain't going nowhere. Neato, gang. Anywho. Welcome back to the Mickelson Racing channel. Today we are going to tackle power steering on the LS swapped 240sx. We have to relocate the power steering pump reservoir because it gets in the way of our cold air intake. So we're going to have to figure that out. Also, we finally got our power steering kit. This one is from Siki. It took a little while to get because of the shortage that is going around currently, so the fittings, I think, are what we were waiting on. Anyway, we got it now, so we can install that. And then we'll be able to put fluid in it and hook the belt up and then start it and, you know, make sure we can get everything running nice and clean, just like it's supposed to be. So that's the goal for this video. I'm getting pretty excited about it. We're getting really freaking close and I love it. We're on the home stretch. Power steering, body kit, I mean, those are the major things. Here's the list. Radiator mount, power steering lines, power steering fluid, battery nuts is done. Off. We got to do the reservoir, intake, body, and gas. The list is getting fairly small. That's pretty much the whole list. There's not a lot of little stuff left to do, so that's huge. We're really getting there. So underneath the car here on the driver's side, this is what we're after. So we got to take off the return line and the pressure line from whatever this is. I don't know if it's the gearbox. Yes, it is. That's the gearbox on the rack. So this side is a 17, so we're going to go ahead and crack that thing loose. A little tight, little tight. So with that guy out of the way, we're going to do this other fitting down in here, and this guy is a 14 millimeter. At least it is on this car. So hard to say if this is factory on this car, but your results may vary. There's the old power steering lines. All that junk and garbage for who knows what. So we're going to remedy that right now, and we're going to put the Siki kit on here. So with the Siki kit, we get a return hose, we get a pressure hose, we get some hose clamps, I presume, for the return hose. We get some other kind of clamp, I don't really know where that goes. And we get two fittings for the gear with O-rings already on them. So that's very important. And then, of course, we get a sticker because every good part gets a sticker, I guess. So we'll just throw that up with all of our other stickers up there. And I apologize for the mess on the bench. I am doing too many projects right now. We're doing the camper and anyway, multitude of other things, just getting stuff cleaned up. Obviously not on the bench, but project-wise, we're just getting stuff cleaned up. So, yeah, let's just go back and talk about power steering. Pretty excited about this kit. It seems like a pretty high quality kit, to be honest. We've got -6 AN fittings on here, and then the fittings that go into the gear pump, so we can just run standard equipment after the pump instead of, you know, vehicle specific stuff. So that's going to be real nice. It's going to make things a lot simpler for maintenance down the line. Put in good parts now, you know, make our lives easier in the future. That's kind of the goal here, I suppose. So we got the first step of our power steering, actually probably the second step. Since we got the power steering hoses off, that was the first step. The second step is we got our reducer, our flow restrictor, off of the pump. So I'll explain real quick why we're going to do that. Here is the stock GM flow restrictor, and here is this aftermarket flow restrictor from our friends over here at Turn 1. And this is the 301053. It's a 2-gallon per minute flow restrictor, and this is kind of designed, I guess, for a 240sx street car with an LS1 style power steering pump, so we don't blow out the rack. That's what I'm told. So that's what we're going to throw in here. And we're just going to thread this right into the power steering pump location, which is right here on the pulley. And then we can thread this piece right into there which will allow us to convert the factory power steering pump to -6 AN. So we'll be able to run our AN lines all the way to the gear pump on the 240, which is this fitting here. And then I don't know what we're going to be able to do for the return line because there are no fittings to be determined on that. But for now, we're going to thread this in there and then thread this in there. Boy, do I have an update for you. We got the belt tensioned because I needed pressure on the pulley, because I needed to get my pulley puller out, because the AN fitting right there from the Sicky line was rubbing on the back of the power steering pump pulley enough to where I couldn't even start the AN fitting on the adapter. So I had to pull the pulley out just to get enough room to get that fitting in place. So that was pretty neat. Now what I got to do is I got to get all this junk out of here and then put the pulley back so the belt is in alignment, because right now I am pulling the belt. So we got to get that stuff back to where it's going. I do have a good place to put my P-clamp where it'll get it out of the way of rubbing on brackets and things. It'll be right down here where the P-clamp for the alternator charge wire is. It'll be in the same mounting location, and that will be a-okay. I do have the hose routed and mounted already to the power steering pump gear in the back, but I don't have it torqued down. So when I get that far, I'll let you guys know. But for now, we are looking pretty good. We're in progress. Well, it's a new day, and yeah, we're just making progress on this thing. So I got the AN lines attached to the power steering pump down here and down there on the steering gear also, and then I've got the return line attached on the steering gear, and I've got it ran right here for right now until we figure out where we're going to mount the reservoir. Then I can permanently either attach this or extend this line so that we've got a return. Now, on the last video, you saw that I had to pull the pulley back off to get that AN line torqued down, and as you can see, I'm not totally flush up against the power steering on the pulley, so I just went down just enough to where I've got some clearance right there between the pulley and the AN line, and I cannot fit a piece of paper in there. It's my understanding that a piece of paper is about 10 thousandths, so I've got less than 10 thousandths clearance, which I don't know. I deal more in millimeters than thousandths, so I don't know what close or not close is. I don't know how much deflection a power steering pump pulley is going to have. I don't know those things. All I know is it's not touching, and my belt alignment is pretty dang good, so I'm not too concerned about it. That's going to be what it's going to be. What we do have to figure out now is where to put this reservoir so it's over here somewhere, not where the air intake is going to want to be. I did have to take the radiator back out to get that power steering pump pulley stuff all figured out. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to put the radiator back in, hopefully for the last time, I think. And then we can reroute this, or actually just remove it, put the intake on kind of where I think it's got to be, and then we can put the power steering reservoir somewhere where it might fit. Let's go ahead and get started and get to work. Another thing, guys, is I've accumulated more Milwaukee tools than I've ever had, and now I've got a bigger problem. So I've got some new stuff over here, and then I've got some new stuff over here. I got more batteries, more chargers, more tools. This thing is a freaking beast. I already used it once and got some damage, but that thing is awesome. Shout out to my buddy Brennan, who told me to get one of these. By the way, Brennan is in like Boratistan or something on his 3rd or 4th tour of deployment, so wish him luck over there. Thanks, Brennan, for all that you do, buddy. But anyway, Brennan also told me to get this oscillating tool. I've never had one before, and yeah, I love it. If you ever have a use for one of these, you'll use it way more than you ever thought. Well, that leads me back to my bigger problem, is I ran out of tool storage. This little tiny bag that I got, that I used to carry around my impact and my drill and my batteries and my chargers, is no longer cutting it for my more batteries, more chargers, more tools. So what do you guys use to carry around your tools? let me know. I'd love to get something probably sooner than later. Also, I haven't had a cold one in a while, so we're having a cold one for you guys today. We got the ice cold 1919 root beer, my favorite beverage I love to enjoy while I'm working on stuff. Not sponsored, I just love 1919. So shout out, if any of you guys got a hookup at 1919, let me know. Love to do something with you. So would Zeus. Hey, wouldn't you, buddy? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, back to work. I've been hard at it, and I just want to give you guys a little update. I think we're starting to get things squared away. So, we've got our reservoir mounted. It's really high, which I don't like. So if a guy wanted to run a hood on this thing, well, obviously they'd have to cut out for the intake and throttle body, which arguably looks pretty cool. But if you got to make a separate cutout for your power steering reservoir, that doesn't really look as cool. So it's going to work if a guy's not going to run a hood, and it's going to work for now. So I got my hoses routed. Now my hose dips down a little bit to go underneath the alternator, and then it comes in. I've got a 90-degree adapter right there, which then leads into the factory hose that's used on Corvettes that inlets into the power steering pump. And then I kind of set up all my hose clamps so I could get to them through the holes in the brackets, as you can see, because getting to a hose clamp that you can't get to just irritates the heck out of me. So I'm hoping that that dip down will still work. The whole level of the system is below the reservoir, so if my hydraulic theory is correct, the level of the reservoir should fill the hose line, and the level of the hose never dips below the inlet of the power steering pump. It just dips below this little 90 here. So I'm a little bit concerned, I guess, because it's got to go under the alternator, but it's kind of what I got to deal with, and that'll make room for the intake. I wish I would have ordered an ICT billet kit with the Camaro or F-body GTO power steering, because the tank and the pump are one piece, and they're just right here, which gives you all sorts of room for the freaking intake. And I even bought that pump and reservoir, but I bought the wrong brackets, and so yeah, I kind of got fun-diggled into doing this, I guess. And then we got our power steering return hose right here, so that's all good. And then I did make this custom bracket right here. If I get a bolt, I can attach that, and that's going to work out really nice. So I just got a little Z bracket kind of looking deal. Made it on the bench with the pliers and a drill, and we're moving along, and I'm pretty excited about it. We got lots of clearance right here. We've got nothing sticking out of the engine like this was, so that's really good. We'll go ahead and throw the radiator in here next, and then see what we got to do about getting an intake permanently mounted on this deal. So here's how I think I'm going to run the intake. I got the filter here. It is all the way against the outside of this frame rail right here. It's as far over as it can go. And then I've got the mass airflow sensor right in here. So that's where that's going to be. I've got my wires routed, and I won't say nice, but they're routed. And then I've got my silicone 90-degree coupler on the throttle body there. So all I have to do is run a piece of pipe from here to here, straight shot. It's not going to be a problem. So I got this pipe here. All I'm going to do is cut this down and get rid of that 45-degree bend that's on there. So I got it marked out roughly where I'm going to want it. And then I can always trim it down more if I need it to be. So I've got this all marked out. We're just going to use the death wheel to cut this off, and then we're going to be on with our day. So that's kind of where I'm at. This is kind of give you an idea of the path of intake right here. So we're not completely square, but it should be enough to where we'll get a good seal on that intake and hopefully not have any leakage on there. The mass airflow sensor fit really nice into the air filter, so I'm happy about that. It should not be a problem tightening that up or anything like that, so that'll be good. And we're really plugging away. So power steering's done, really happy about that. Let's get this intake freaking figured out. And then I'll have to ditch this bracket off of it, which is okay with me. I never really wanted it there anyway. And then radiator fans. Need some washers in here because my bolts are too long and I haven't cut them down. But I think I'm going to utilize this bracket that's already here and just reshape it, and then maybe drill a new hole so that it actually mounts to the radiator. Think that's an acceptable way to do it? Like, I don't know. Let me know, because that's what I'm thinking about doing. So let me know what you guys think about that. And then we'll just do some radiator hoses, hook up our fans again, and bada bing bada boom, we should be freaking rocking and rolling. I'm getting pretty excited about this. We're really making good progress. Parts slowdowns have really hindered our progress, but we're beyond that now. We're actually making stuff work. Here's a little update for you. Here's what I got so far. It's super exciting because we're making some really good progress on this car. We are so close to the finish line. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Power steering system done. You guys saw that. We got our intake tube coming. And so I got that weird bracket cut off and kind of smoothed down. And I left this bracket on there because I may utilize it to go in there and mount it to the radiator. The radiator is solid, so that is a good thing. And the engine is also solid mounted. So in theory, that shouldn't move at all. But if it does, the silicone boots should help it flex the little bit that it is. So speaking of, if we circle back to the radiator, I quick made some radiator mounts. This is pretty much what I had in mind. This one is not centered. And yeah, well, it's not. And it is what it is. This one is centered. And I tried to do a little better job on that one, except I didn't get the bend right. So I didn't get the bend right on this one, but I didn't get this one centered. So, you know, that's just the kind of work I do around here, I guess. But it's really solid. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't move. So that's really good. So it's not going to vibrate or do anything weird. I did get a positive battery cable bolt on there. So that is freaking solid. We should be able to utilize all of our accessories now. And then I also got nuts for the battery hold down. So that ain't going nowhere. Neato, gang. Anywho, let's get back to less cool stuff. I do have to get a bolt for the reservoir bracket, otherwise that is all complete. And I did order a boot for this because apparently I don't have it. So I need to get that. It's a 4-inch to 3 3/4 inch boot. Got one of those coming. It should be here Friday, tomorrow. Those of you that are watching this video on Thursday, it'll be here tomorrow. So I just have it mocked up for now, just so we can see kind of how it looks or how it works. Yeah, that's gonna work. I just got just enough room in there to put everything in, and then if this is in the right spot like that, and my wires are in the right spot, yeah, we don't rub on the belt anywhere. We are good to go. We got all sorts of clearance. Well, not all sorts, but just enough. We got just enough clearance, so that's a good thing. Let's take a look at our freaking list because I'm getting super excited about it. Radiator mount. Shigeon power steering lines out of here. Dunzo. Power steering fluid, I haven't added any yet. And we're going to go ahead and change power steering reservoir to power steering reservoir bolt. So I kind of got half of that done. The intake I can't quite cross off yet because I'm waiting on that boot, but that's it. It's done otherwise. And then body and gas. My girlfriend came out here and asked me why I've got gas written down, so I'm guessing some of you may have some questions on the gas. The car's out of gas. That's why it's on there. So I remember to fill it up because I don't want to be a wank and forget to fill my tank. Pretty much what's going on here. That's a reference to Older Car Guy and Mortsky Repair. Check both of those fellas out if you haven't already. That's where I'm at right now. I do want to fill the system up with fluid. Start it, run it, make sure everything freaking works, all that fun jazz. Yeah, it's about where I'm at right now. I'm going to catch you some other time, probably tomorrow. It'll be, you know, a day for me and only seconds for you. So, folks, I filled the 240 up with power steering fluid, and yeah, it's leaking. It's leaking pretty good. And not out of any of the fittings that I tightened. So is that a good thing or not? I'm not really sure, but let me show you what's going on. I filled the reservoir up, all the way up. It's leaking down pretty good, so it came out a little bit. Not leaking from anywhere up here, which is a good thing. However, let me show you down here. Apparently there's a line that's supposed to go from this fitting over to right there on the rack. And yeah, that's gone. And I had no idea that that was supposed to be there, and I didn't even look, didn't even think about it until now. So now I've got it draining into the power steering thing that I just poured all the fluid out of. And yeah, that's gonna put a damper on this week's video because now we are stuck until I get a new freaking line. Dadgummit. So on that bombshell, Top Gear reference, we're done for this week. That's it for this video. We'll see you next week on the Mickelson Racing channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe right here in the corner of this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.